Hello everyone, welcome to Financhist. Before we begin, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more deep financial breakdowns. For decades, the story of American manufacturing has been a story of outsourcing, a tale of chasing cheaper labor and lower costs, with China as the main destination. On the surface, the logic seemed flawless. Why pay an American worker $20 an hour when you could pay a worker in China a fraction of that? For corporations, this was a golden ticket to boosting profit margins. Profit. For consumers, it meant cheaper goods, from t-shirts to televisions. In the short term, everyone seemed to win. But this financial maneuver, celebrated in boardrooms and on Wall Street, set the stage for a slow-motion economic crisis that would hollow out America as industrial heartland and reshape its place in the world. This wasn't just about moving factories. It was about exporting an entire way of life. And the bill for that decision has finally come due. Let's turn back the clock to the late 20th century. The global economy was opening up and the mantra was globalization. The idea was that each country would specialize in what it does best. America, with its innovation and financial might, would focus on high-tech design and services, while other countries like China would handle the actual making of things. This sounded great in theory. American companies could design the next revolutionary smartphone in California and have it assembled for pennies on the dollar in Shenzhen. This flood of cheap goods kept inflation low and filled the shelves of big box stores across the country. It created a consumer paradise. The problem is, an economy built solely on consumption and not production is like a house built on sand. While we were busy buying, we were forgetting how to build. The first and most devastating impact was the catastrophic loss of manufacturing jobs. We're not talking about a few thousand jobs here and there. We're talking about millions. Entire towns in states like Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, once vibrant hubs of industry, saw their factories close down one by one. These weren't just jobs, they were careers that provided a stable, middle-class life for generations. A factory worker could own a home, raise a family, and send their kids to college. When those factories shut their gates, they didn't just leave behind empty buildings, they left behind shattered communities. Unemployment soared, local businesses that depended on factory workers went under, and a sense of hopelessness began to creep in. The promise of retraining for new, high-tech jobs often proved to be a hollow one. It's not easy for a 50-year-old welder to suddenly become a software coder. This disappearance of well-paying blue-collar jobs was a direct assault on the American middle class. For much of the 20th century, the middle class was the engine of the US economy. It was built on the foundation of manufacturing. As these jobs vanished, they were often replaced by lower-paying service sector jobs, working in retail, fast food, or call centers. These jobs rarely offered the same wages, benefits, or security. As a result, the gap between the rich and the poor began to widen dramatically. The top executives and shareholders of the companies that outsourced made fortunes, while the workers they left behind saw their incomes stagnate or decline. This economic shift created deep social and political divisions that we are still grappling with today. The collapse of the manufacturing base wasn't just an economic event, it was a social catastrophe that eroded the American dream for millions. Beyond the human cost, outsourcing created a massive strategic vulnerability: supply chain dependency. The COVID-19 pandemic threw this into sharp relief for everyone to see. Suddenly we realized that we couldn't produce basic necessities like masks, ventilators, or even certain pharmaceuticals. Why? Because the factories that made them were overseas, primarily in China. For years we had prioritized efficiency and low cost over resilience and security. The system worked fine as long as global trade flowed smoothly. But the moment a crisis hit, the whole fragile structure began to crack. This isn't just about medical supplies. Think about the components in your car, your phone, or your computer. A huge percentage of them are made in China. This gives another country immense leverage over the American economy. If they decide to slow down or halt production of a critical component, entire US industries could grind to a halt. We traded self-sufficiency for cheap electronics. This leads us to the geopolitical consequences. Economic power is the foundation of strategic power. By willingly handing over its manufacturing base, the United States effectively funded the rise of its primary geopolitical rival. The profits from producing goods for American consumers helped fuel China's incredible economic growth, which in turn funded its military modernization and its expanding global influence. We were, in a way, paying for our own competitor to get stronger. America's reliance on China for so many critical products weakens its negotiating position on the world stage. How can you take a hard line on trade or security issues when you know your entire economy depends on components from the country you're negotiating with? It's a strategic blunder of historic proportions. We essentially gave away the keys to the factory, and now we're surprised that the new owner is setting the rules. Let's talk specifics. Technology is at the heart of modern power, and this is where our dependency is most alarming. Take rare earth minerals, for example. These are essential for everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to advanced military hardware like fighter jets and missile guidance systems. The United States used to be a major producer, but today, China dominates the global supply chain, controlling the mining and processing. This gives them a virtual chokehold on the global tech industry. Similarly, while many of our most advanced chips are designed in the US, a vast amount of the manufacturing, assembly, and testing happens in Asia, with China playing a huge role. We are dangerously reliant on a global supply chain for the very brains of our modern economy and defense systems. This isn't just about losing jobs anymore. It's about national security. So what's the path forward? The process of reshoring or bringing manufacturing back to the United States is gaining momentum, but it's an uphill battle. Decades of deindustrialization can't be reversed overnight. It requires massive investment in new factories, infrastructure, and most importantly, in workforce training. We need to rebuild the skills and knowledge that were lost. Policies like tax incentives, tariffs, and government contracts can help level the playing field for American manufacturers. It will mean that some goods might become more expensive. We, as consumers, might have to adjust our expectations of rock-bottom prices for everything. But this is the price of rebuilding our economic sovereignty and securing our future. We need to shift our thinking from short-term cost savings to long-term strategic investment. The decision to move manufacturing to China was a textbook example of prioritizing short-term profits over long-term national interest. It hollowed out our middle class, made our supply chains fragile, and weakened our geopolitical standing. While globalization brought some benefits, the way it was executed has left the American economy more vulnerable than ever. Rebuilding our industrial base is not about retreating from the world or rejecting trade. It's about creating a more balanced, resilient, and secure economy that works for everyone, not just a select few. It's about ensuring that the phrase "Made in America" is not just a slogan from the past, but a promise for the future. The lessons have been hard learned, but it's not too late to change course and rebuild the economic engine that once made America a global powerhouse. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think the US can successfully bring manufacturing back? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching Financhist, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that makes you think. See you in the next video.